Hello everyone. Most of you know me, but if not, my name is Heather Schneider and I am the Senior Property Manager here at North Point. Here with me today, I also have Kelly Matthews, our Property Manager, Jeff Wozniak, our Building Chief Engineer, and Olivia Williams, our Tenant Services Coordinator, whom most of you have spoken with over the phone. As you can see, Olivia is expecting in September, and she will be leaving us for a short while for maternity leave, but she will be back in November, so please wish her luck. First off, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to view our Fire Warden training. This pandemic has changed the way we do so many things in our personal lives and in our work lives, and implementing this training via video is just one example of these changes. Last year, we postponed the training and eventually decided to cancel the training and the drill due to the low occupancy in the building and for the safety of our tenants. This year, we planned on things returning to normal. However, with the new variant and the second rise of COVID, we decided we would try something new and video the training for our tenants, so even those of you who are still working from home could participate. This is typically an annual presentation in preparation for our annual drill and building evacuation. And it's extremely important in making sure that we are all prepared to handle emergencies. In this training, we will discuss the role and responsibilities of a fire warden, give you some basic knowledge of the life safety system and what to expect during an alarm, discuss other types of emergencies, and discuss evacuation procedures. I do want to stress, however, that although we hold this presentation every year on the building's procedures, it is just as important for you and your firm to have your own internal plan as well, and to hold your own internal training with your employees. So please, if you do not have that in place already, please make it a goal for the upcoming year. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm now going to turn the show over to Olivia and Jeff for the rest of the presentation. Please be safe, and we hope to see everyone back in the building soon.
Hi everyone, thank you again for joining us today. As Heather mentioned, my name is Olivia Williams and I'm the Tenant Services Coordinator here at North Point. As Heather mentioned, we are here to train the floor wardens in the building, and I am going to discuss further in detail what to do in the event of an emergency. We are going to talk about understanding the fire alarm system and how it works, discuss the importance of the floor warden and their responsibilities, ensure floor wardens are familiar with the evacuation procedures, familiarize floor wardens with the stairwells and evacuation routes, and understand procedures for other types of emergencies that may occur. During an event of emergency, our building staff will play the following roles in the building. They will take on these responsibilities. Our Senior Property Manager and Chief Engineer will serve as the safety directors. The Assistant Safety Directors will be myself and Kelly Matthews, the Property Manager, and then our emergency response team consists of the security guards, engineering, and our janitorial staff. The floor wardens and deputy floor wardens are appointed by each tenant. You have submitted a tenant information form to our office detailing who the floor wardens will be. If this has changed since you've last submitted this form, please contact the management office so we can make the necessary changes. I'd now like to introduce Jeff Wozniak, our Chief Engineer, and he will discuss with you a little bit about our life safety components.
Hello again. I would like to go over the life safety components here at North Point. The life safety components here are the sprinkler system, which consists of the sprinkler heads. There's a flow switch installed in the piping. There's a tamper valve, the piping throughout the building, all backed up by an emergency fire pump. So what happens during a fire, if the sprinkler head, which I have here, has a glass, liquid-filled glass tube on it, and when that gets to a certain temperature, it breaks and opens the valve. There's water right behind the valve, and when that sprinkler head goes off, it will start flowing water. When the water starts flowing, it goes through a flow switch, which is how it responds down to the alarm panel, And that's how we know where we have a possible fire. And we'll be able to respond to that floor. When the sprinkler head opens up, it reduces the pressure in the system, and we have a diesel engine fire pump, which will sense that loss of pressure and start and continue to provide as much pressure as necessary to extinguish the fire. The next devices are the smoke and heat detectors. I have a couple of those here. There's different styles throughout the building. What these do is just sense smoke, and then they will send an alarm down to our fire alarm panel stating where the area the smoke detector had gone off at. Heat detectors just basically just does that. It detects heat. Typically those are installed in kitchens and high dust areas that could give a false alarm. The manual pull stations, these are located at all the stairwells, the north and south stairwells throughout the building on every floor, and all the first floor exits. You should familiarize yourself with the location of all these. The speakers and strobes, also known as the audio visuals, those are the strobe lights that will flash when an alarm is going off, as well as allow the messages to come out that are warning everybody of a fire alarm. Elevator recall. Should a smoke head go off in either of the low-rise elevator lobbies, the high-rise elevator lobbies, the freight elevator lobby, or the elevator machine rooms, these will automatically recall the elevators to the first floor for the fire personnel to use should they need to gain access to the fire on the different levels. The public address system. Through the audio-visual devices out there, we are able to send different messages depending on the type of emergency that's at the building. Pressurized stairwells. Upon a fire alarm, a stairwell pressurization fan starts. It's located up on the roof, and what that does is it sends outside air into the stairwells, preventing any smoke from entering the stairwells as people are exiting. And fire extinguishers. We have fire extinguishers located throughout the hallways, corridors of the building. They're located by the north and south stairwell, and then in the east corridor, the long corridor, we have one on the wall as well, to the north of the elevators. These are used for small fires. If a fire should happen in your space, and you are able to contain it with the fire extinguisher, please do. If not, exit your office and pull the pull station, alerting us that there is a fire alarm. What happens when a fire alarm should go off? The speakers and strobes, audio visuals again, will activate on the affected floor, the floor above, and the floor below. The strobes will go off, and then the message stating that there's an emergency has been detected. Please use the stairwells and exit. The fire alarm panel, we have it monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Should an alarm go off, the fire alarm monitoring company immediately notifies the Cleveland Fire Department. Once the fire alarm goes off, like I said before, the announcements will go through the audio-visual devices, notifying everyone that there is an emergency. Fire doors in the stairwells will open, unlock. We ask though that you do not go on to another floor, because we don't know if there might be another emergency going on at that time on that floor itself. So we ask that if you are in the stairwell, to please continue all the way down and follow the evacuation route. And the stairwell pressurization fan, as I stated before, will start pressurize the stairwells to keep any smoke out that might be on the floor.
Thank you to Jeff for the in-depth explanation of the fire safety components. Now we're going to talk a little bit about floor wardens, really why you're here and who you are. A floor warden is the liaison between the building management team and your firm's employees. The principal objective is a floor warden ensures that employees are prepared for a fire or other emergency situation in order to minimize injury. How many floor wardens will your firm have? There should be 1 warden per 5 employees. After 10 employees, select the number of wardens based on your floor's layout. Half a floor is about 4 to 5 wardens, and a full floor should have about 7 or 8 wardens. Wardens should be capable of performing a leadership role during emergency situations. Wardens should be available in the office on a daily basis, and the deputy warden should be assigned in case of emergency during a warden's absence. Responsibilities of a floor warden: know the layout of your suite, your floor, the location of emergency exits, fire extinguishers, and pull stations. You should know your evacuation plan and your rendezvous point. You should communicate your pre-planned emergency procedures to your employees, and familiarize all personnel needing assistance, assign 2 buddies, and notify building management. A floor warden should participate in the annual floor warden training and evacuation drill. Upon activation of an alarm, a floor warden should begin the evacuation procedures. The floor warden should quickly tour your suite and alert all occupants that a fire alarm has sounded and evacuation is required. North Point Tower has 2 stairwells located at the north and south of the building's floor plate. Elevators should not be used and may not be accessible at any time during an emergency. Here is a visual of the north and south stairwell for your reference. The south stairwell exits at the M level 1. Follow the route out of the building and exit at the dock drive. Proceed to your rendezvous point away from the building. For some of you who may not know where the M1 level is, this is where most of you come down to get your mail and is by the dock area. The north stairwell exits on the 1st floor. Follow the route out of the building lobby and proceed to your rendezvous point away from the building. In case of evacuation, please instruct employees to the nearest stairwell. Remind employees of the rendezvous point. Inform employees to stay to the right of the stairwell during evacuation. The assigned buddies should assist physically challenged individuals to the stairwell. Again, sweep the premises to ensure all occupants have evacuated. Ensure all of those individuals needing assistance are in the stairwell at the landing. Please remember, remain calm, attentive, and quiet in order to hear emergency instructions. Follow the emergency exit route out of the building, and the building personnel will be there to direct you. Once the evacuation is complete, please report to the building's representative in the orange vest located in the plaza area that your suite is all clear. Notify the building representative of location of any personnel awaiting assistance from the fire department. Please lead your employees away from the building to your designated rendezvous point. The Cleveland Fire Department will determine when the building may be reoccupied, and building management will notify tenants at each rendezvous point. All building systems will be restored and an all clear message will generate over the public address system. In addition to the public address system, I'd like to introduce a new form of communication that we'll be implementing here in the building. It's called One Call Now. Earlier this year, a form was sent out to the tenants asking for information of who you'd like to be included on our One Call Now call list. One Call Now is going to be North Point's emergency alert system. So in the event of emergency, whenever physically able, a management team member will reach out to tenant office contacts via text and or email through the web-based system. It is expected that these contacts relay all pertinent safety and emergency information within the company. Please keep the management office updated on any changes to the provided contacts. The management team will reach out to a maximum of 6 contacts from your office via text, call, or email. So if you've already submitted contacts to the management office and you'd like to add more after hearing this presentation, you're welcome to do so. Just up to 6 tenant contacts per tenant. The notifications will come in the event of a building emergency, not only in the case of a fire, but also any medical emergencies in the case of an active shooter, bomb threats, or anything along those lines. The contacts that you choose for the One Call Now system should be contacts that are a part of your senior on-site leadership. We ask that you provide a minimum of 2 senior on-site leadership personnel, and then other management and or safety coordinator personnel who will be responsible for relaying any messages received via our company's call tree. If you do discover a fire, you should do the following. If possible, isolate the fire by shutting doors and surrounding the fire. Activate the nearest pull station. This will automatically call the fire department. Call the property management office at 216-623-6500 and relay the following. Your name and exact location, for example, the floor or suite of the fire, what is burning, electrical, liquids, paper, wood, and the severity of the fire. Upon hearing a fire alarm, floor wardens should begin evacuation procedures. In the case of medical emergencies, when medical assistance is required, immediately call 911 and be prepared to relay the following information to the dispatcher. Please state your name and your phone number. If there's anyone who is sick or injured, and please provide that individual's name, the company name, the building name, your floor and suite number, and the nature of the problem. After calling 911, call the management office at, again, 216-623-6500 and notify them that EMS is on the way. Security will lock off the freight elevator and will direct and accompany EMS to your suite. Assign an employee to meet EMS in the elevator lobby and direct them to the individual that's in need. Security will write up an incident report for the building management office. In the case of a weather emergency, tornado or other severe weather, if there's a tornado that is sited in Cuyahoga County, you'll be notified via the public address system. This is where we will also implement our One Call Now system and send out a notification via text, email, or maybe a phone call. If the building management has directed you to take safety measures, floor wardens should take the following action. Close all blinds on outside windows and close all office doors that have exterior windows or glass. You should direct personnel to move to safe areas on your floor, which include the following. Interior rooms with no glass, restrooms, stairwells, elevator lobbies in the core of the building have been identified as safe zones. Do not leave the building. You are safer inside. Stay in safe areas until an all clear is given. In the case of a bomb threat, when a bomb threat is received, the following guidelines should be followed. If it is through a phone call, keep the caller on the line as long as possible. Ask them to repeat the message. Get the attention of a coworker and instruct them to call 911. Please notify their supervisor and building management without alerting the caller if possible. Obtain as much information from the caller as possible, location of the bomb, time of detonation, and the description of the bomb. Checklist is provided in the tenant manual. Please inform the caller that the building is occupied and detonation could result in death or serious injuries of innocent people. Listen for any background noises that might help provide a clue as to the location of the caller. If you listen closely to the voice to determine sex, emotional state, accents, speech impediments, age, or ethnicity if possible. Conduct a search of your company area for suspicious, unusual, or foreign items and report findings to building management and/or the proper authorities. If there is a threat that's received through email or by text, call 911 immediately. Then notify building management and provide a copy of the email or text. Building management will not require full building evacuation unless ordered by the Cleveland authorities. The decision to evacuate your suite is the responsibility of the tenant. If you determine your employees are in imminent danger and wish to evacuate, please notify building management and follow the building evacuation procedures. Should there be a power outage in the building is equipped with a primary and secondary power feed from the utility company and automatic transfer switches. Should both feeds go down, both the primary and secondary, the emergency generator will supply the following building systems for a limited time to allow for a safe evacuation. There will be corridor emergency lighting, stairwell emergency lighting, fire and life safety system, and limited elevator service. In the event of an active shooter, each tenant should have an active shooter preparedness plan, which should be updated every 2 years or as needed. At a minimum, a plan should be comprised of the following elements: security assessments, preparedness, communication, an incident plan, steps or actions to take during the incident, training and exercises, and post-incident recovery, ones for employees and operations. Security assessments include recognizing indicators of potential workplace violence, for example, potentially violent behaviors from current or former employees or clients, and monitoring suite access for potential intruders or to ensure doors are secure if no one is there. Preparedness. Please, to prepare for an active shooter, you should run, hide, fight, know your evacuation route, or run to the nearest exits, find a place to hide, block an entry, locker doors, remain quiet, and silence all cell phones. As a last resort, attempt to take the active shooter down. Call 911 when it's safe to do so. Create a system to report potential workplace violence threats and to alert fellow coworkers, law enforcement, and property management of a possible or occurring incident. Your incident plan should document and review how to report an emergency. It should ensure all staff know their escape routes, their rendezvous points, and evacuation procedures. Assemble a communication plan that is ready to alert law enforcement, employees, building management, and other parties involved. Training and exercises for an active shooter, identifying the sound of a gunfire, reacting quickly, calling 911, reacting when law enforcement arrives, and adopting a survival mindset during a crisis. To recover post-incident, determine who is missing or injured. Determine a method for notifying families, assess the psychological state of individuals, and identify and fill critical personnel or operational gaps. We are going to show a brief video that highlights the run, hide, fight method for an active shooter.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference. Run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important, you, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
inquiries about when the fire drill will be for this year. As of now, we have it planned for this month, and participation of all building employees is strongly recommended. The fire drill will be conducted this month, but the date is to be determined. The specific date and time is intentionally omitted to create a spontaneous reaction as in a real-life emergency. Fire alarms will be set off building-wide. Tenants are to evacuate the building using the emergency stairwells. No elevators are to be used. Building staff will be staged in various locations to observe the drill and direct as needed. Please make sure to check in with building management in the plaza to give them the all clear once your firm has fully evacuated. The full building evacuation will be timed and documented. Once complete, the fire alarm system will be reset. An all clear announcement will be made on the public address system, and building staff will notify tenants at all rendezvous points that they are free to return to the building. Just some friendly reminders about the fire drill. Do not stand in the plaza, turnaround drive, or in front of the exit doors. Move as far away from the building as you can. Meet at your rendezvous point and stay together until you are notified of the drill's completion, and any feedback is welcome. We'd like to thank you again for your virtual attendance to our annual floor warden training, and thank you in advance for your planned participation in our annual fire drill. Because no one is here for questions, we'd like to invite you to draft a list of questions and email them to myself at owilliams@hertzgroup.com. And once we've received all questions, a list of FAQs along with answers will be emailed to the tenants.